The Devil Brothers by Javier. John was in HEB being bored of having a lot of time looking for the groceries his mom wanted. He got spent so much time in the sales, and right now that he needed to look for the items on the grocery list, his mother said he couldn't find them. John was tired of being so much time on HEB. He asked his mom, "Can we go now?" His mom replied, "No, John, but if you can ask me questions, you will never be ready." Tom was bothering John and kidding him. "You're such an idiot. You're so ugly and dumb." John was thinking to himself, "Stupid Tom, I will pay you back one of these days." John was looking around, frustrated, not knowing what to do. All of a sudden, John saw some gummies that said in bold letters, "Muscle Man, delicious." John asked his mom, "Can I buy them, please?" His mom said, "Yes, John, put them on the cart." They were at the conveyor belt, and John was helping his mom to put the groceries onto the conveyor belt because he wanted to get out of this cage. John, Tom, and his mom were arriving home. When they got there, John went directly to his room to open his gummies. He was very excited of opening them and knowing how they were going to taste. John ate one and felt curious. His hands were starting to stretch. His body was getting bigger and bigger. John was anxious of what was happening to him, because that had never happened in his life and to anyone else. John was hearing strong steps on the stairs. He knew it was his brother Tom. He was feeling the steps getting closer towards his room. John was very focused on the gummies that he didn't care feeling the steps of his brother behind him. Tom came in and started saying bad words to John. "Stupid idiot, stop," John said. Tom said, "Ugh, now you want to tell Mommy, poor little baby." John was very angry. His dream was to beat his brother. He always had wanted to have powers, to get more strength and to get bigger, and today was his day. John was very frustrated that he decided to use his iPod instead of fighting with his brother. His brother Tom saw him play with his iPod having fun. Tom got very angry because he was trying to offend John, saying he's a loser and gomer and much more. But John didn't pay attention to what his brother was talking about. His brother Tom got very mad. John grabbed his gummies and started eating them while playing Angry Birds. John stopped playing with his iPod and paused, getting lost of what was happening. He was getting more powerful. His hands were starting to stretch, and his iPod was starting to dent, and he lifted his iPod very carefully into his chest, not trying to dent it more than how it was. John broke the door, giving it a kick. John was loving his powers. He was very excited having them. John was very angry with his brother of having him on HEB and supporting him, so he decided to go to the room of Tom and say, "Now do you want to fight?" His brother said. "Of course, at every time you want." John replied. John went to Tom, very mad, and punched him. His brother got out the window. Their parents were there and they saw Tom crying laying down. John got very nervous of what their parents were going to do to him. Their parents entered the house and yelled, "John, where are you?" John didn't answer. His parents went running to his room very angry and upset. They punished John very bad, not having his iPod for 1 year and not having plans with friends for 4 months. John was very angry with himself. He was about to explode. His mom told John, "We need to go to the hospital. Come on, right now." They were there, and Tom was with his leg broke and his neck and his spine was very bad. He went directly for his gummies that were in the car and he threw them to the trash can because he knew this day would repeat if he didn't throw them away. The next day, his brother was very angry and frustrated. He was in shock because he didn't expect that blow of his brother John into his face. John went with his brother and told him, "I'm sorry, I couldn't measure my strength because I had the powers the gummies gave me, and I didn't know that the powers were gonna have so much effect on my strength. I'm so sorry," he replied. No, you should have think before you act because it's always the same with you. You hit someone or do something wrong, and at the end, when they already punish you, you say, I'm so sorry, and at that point, you cannot solve the problem. The next day, his brother was very angry and frustrated, but he was in shock because he didn't expect that blow of his brother John into his face. John went with his brother and told him, I'm sorry, I couldn't measure my strength because I had the powers the gummies gave me, and I didn't know that the powers were gonna have so much effect on my strength. I am so sorry. He replied, No, you should have thought before you act, because it's always the same with you. You hit someone or do something wrong, and at the end, when they already punish you, you say, I'm sorry, and at that point, you cannot solve the problem. The next day, John woke up and he didn't have nothing to play with. Most often, John woke up and played with his iPod. John was very nervous of what happened to his brother. John wanted his parents to wake up so that they could go to the hospital and visit Tom and see how he was. John entered the room of his parents to grab his iPod, very quietly. He was in tippy-toes because he didn't want their parents to know that he entered the room, and he didn't want to be punished again. He was in his room, and he had his iPod 5. He was very nervous of their parents waking up. All of a sudden, he heard the door open and he put his iPod under the bed and started fake sleeping. He was feeling steps going toward his room. He was anxious of knowing who it was. The door opened and boom! Their parents, they told John to wake up. He was excited of knowing how his brother was. He changed his clothes and went running to the room of his parents to see if they were ready. They were on the car ready to go and visit Tom. His mom was talking to John about why did he make that. John was very nervous of having this conversation, so he decided to don't answer any question of his mom on that conversation. His mom decided to stop having the conversation because he knew John didn't like it. They were in the hospital and his brother was okay, but he needed to sleep with a thing to cure his injury. So John asked the lady, Can Tom come now and sleep in our home? The lady replied, That's why I said he will need to be sleeping with a thing to cure. I said, Oh, okay, thank you, bye. We were going downstairs to the car with my brother. He was walking super well. John was surprised. John thought it would get into a bigger problem. John learned to don't overreact at the first time, to relax and breathe smoothly, to think before you act. Bye. Thank you.